On today's episode, I speak with Cale Moodie, CEO and Director of Neptune Dash, to learn more about their recent announcement about securing capital from a New York private equity firm that will allow Neptune Dash to strategically take advantage of cryptocurrency purchasing opportunities. Hello and welcome to Dash Insights, a show that shines the spotlight on professional market analysis from industry experts and respected leaders in finance and cryptocurrency. Neptune Dash Technologies Corp is a Canada-based technology company. Neptune Dash invests exclusively in blockchain infrastructure assets and related technologies. The company's primary objective is to manage and operate masternodes that assist the Dash blockchain to facilitate payment processing on the Dash network. Hi Cale, thank you for joining me today.
Hi Mark, how are you doing?
Not too bad, thank you. I'm excited to learn more about your recent announcement that Neptune Dash Technologies has secured capital up to $4 million to purchase digital assets including Dash via New York private equity firm Alumina Partners. Can you tell me more about this?
Yeah, we're quite happy about this. I always said, we weren't going to finance and dilute shareholders down, but, this gives us an exciting opportunity to raise capital. We sort of call the shots in terms of when we pull the trigger on the financing. The terms were quite good. So this way we can actually raise money when we get nice surges in the market, and we can use that money to buy more cryptocurrency, shore up the balance sheet when we have pullbacks in the market. So it's just like anything. It's basically, raise money at higher levels and then buy the dip.
Will all of the $4 million be used to acquire Dash? And when do you plan on using the capital to make those purchases?
Right. So again, that comes back to strategy. I mean, it's going to be essentially we have to watch the market, see what is performing and what's not performing, and sort of allocate those funds accordingly. So if we get a nice rally in our share price, we'll raise money at those levels, probably take, 100, 200 grand at a time out, and then leave that on the balance sheet in the treasury, and then make our moves to buy dips in certain tokens, mainly probably Dash, Bitcoin, Cosmos, Atom. Those are our sort of primary targets. And again, buy that dip and add to our balance sheet.
How many Dash masternodes does Neptune Dash currently operate?
I think right now we're about 15 or 16. I mean, we're at our peak, we're about 20, so we pulled back somewhat. The reason we have pulled back was just the feedback from our shareholders. We wanted to diversify somewhat, so we ended up buying some Bitcoin. Again, Cosmos Atom was a nice node structure with a validator, so we delegated some tokens to that, and we get paid a nice premium of I think approaching 10%. So that was a nice one as well. So we've sort of diversified our portfolio somewhat. But at the end of the day, 15, 16 masternodes, that's the main source of our revenues and the main item on our balance sheet.
With so much market uncertainty due to the COVID-19 pandemic and economic stimulus response from central banks worldwide, do you believe Neptune Dash is now in a prime position for institutional money to increase their exposure to digital assets by diversifying and hedging with cryptocurrencies like Dash?
Yeah, I mean, there's a number of questions there that we could probably talk about for hours, but I mean, you think about the trillions of dollars flooding into the system, massive QE like we've never seen before. I mean, it was funny. I was thinking about this the other day that, every 10 years we have this massive stimulus package put in play by the governments of the world. And every time it gets more and more money flooding into the system. So, I mean, where is the true store of value? What is it? And to me, you're talking to a guy who's an old school gold bug to some extent. So, I believe in the true store of value. Those assets you can't inflate indefinitely, and that pulls me back right to Bitcoin, Dash, all the tokens with a finite inflation built into the algo. So, I mean, I see Neptune Dash in a perfect spot here for a nice rally, based on the fact that people want exposure to asset classes that can't be infinitely debased. So, I mean, it seems like a no-brainer to me, but I think, the world is just coming online in terms of how economic systems work. We've seen, everybody's seen now these wipeouts every 10 years. It's just phenomenal.
How has Neptune Dash been performing with the current market disruption? Are you weathering the storm, or have you had to make operational cuts?
Yeah, it's been interesting, and as the markets pulled back, we adapt pretty quickly. So we've cut our costs to basically a trickle, you could say, right now. And we don't need to actually raise this money, which is, I mean, some people may say, these guys are raising money for G&A. Well, no, we don't actually. We actually probably could pare our costs back further for another couple of years and just go in a shoestring budget. But we actually really want this capital to show up the balance sheet more than anything. So yeah, we've cut costs really, really, really low for a publicly traded company, which is good to see, and people can see our financials every quarter. Our costs, our G&A budget's coming down. So we have that sustaining ability. We can last a long time. Whether we have 5 million in assets on the balance sheet or 500 million, the cost to maintain those assets is relatively the same. So we can have the same small group of guys running this company. And other than marketing costs and running a public company, it's not very expensive to do this. So back to your question in terms of institutional investors, I mean, there's a number of products out there, and we see Neptune Dash as one of those products that gives people exposure, to an array of tokens that we see as having a future and a bright future, and those that generally pay a dividend or a revenue.
What markets is Neptune Dash currently available on, and do you have plans to expand to other markets in the future?
Right, so good question. Right now we're trading on the OTC in the US. We're trading on the TSX Venture Exchange. We're also trading on the Frankfurt Exchange. I believe we're trading on Stuttgart, and we just recently, I got a piece of mail from Berlin Exchange saying that they're going to be listing us on the Berlin Exchange. So, lots of interest out of Germany, which is quite interesting. Our volume in Germany has really kicked up in the last year, so that's an interesting market as well. So in the future, I mean, once we have the scope and we're at that critical mass where we can list on other exchanges, and again, that comes back to raising money. We need to build this balance sheet big enough that we can access other markets. And it'd be great to have a NASDAQ listing. As a Canadian company, we can do a co-listing on the NASDAQ with not too much work. We just need to meet those requirements, which again comes back to that critical mass and having that market cap.
I've noticed there are now a number of blockchain-based companies listed now on the TSX Venture Exchange. Do you think traditional seasoned investors that are used to investing in precious metal junior miners on the TSX Venture Exchange are now more open to investing in blockchain-based companies?
Yeah, certainly. When we RTO'd back in beginning of 2018, and it's a very different environment than it was 2 years ago. I mean, everybody knows what blockchain is. I mean, most people, they may not understand it in depth, but they know what it is. People certainly know what Bitcoin is. They know what cryptocurrencies are. Whether they have any or not is another question. But I mean, it's certainly a different environment, and the growth is rapid. I mean, every day people know more about it. But I mean, we really need to have the attention focused on that segment of the market. Blockchain, in itself is obviously a great technology. Forget the actual associated monetary worth of these things, or just in terms of the technology and the ability of corporations to use these things, to further advance their internal tech and external tech as well. But in terms of the junior mining sector, yeah, I mean, that was something that I was involved in for years, and as a gold guy, I found it very exciting. I see. The Canadian spec market is, these guys basically invest in whatever's hot at the time. So blockchain may not be hot right now, but I think, it's going to have another day where things are going to get really, really, really exciting again in the marketplace. So, I mean, right now, gold seems to be back on, cannabis had its day. It's sort of a bouncing around, but I'm steadfast in my belief in blockchain, cryptocurrency, and in gold as well.
Can you tell me more about the BlackRock and Fidelity purchasing shares in Neptune Dash?
Well, I mean, it's a bit of a mystery to us as well, and we probably have the same information as everybody else, other than the ability to see our level 2 purchasing. So we had millions and millions of shares bought up by one buyer at that time. That was, I believe, it was Instinet. I think they bought 6 to 10 million shares over a period of time, and then we basically had that circulating report. I think it was Morningstar had that circulating report about BlackRock owning a bunch of our company. So we actually did contact BlackRock to no avail, and got nowhere in terms of anybody talking about their investment in Neptune. So again, it remains a bit of a mystery, but I'm happy with that mystery, and we haven't seen that selling come out. So I mean, that's great. Another shareholder.
Do you have any metrics or insights about where the most investment interest in Neptune Dash is coming from?
Yeah, I mean, Germany, like I said, Germany is really kicking up, and you know, for a long time we did some roadshows in Germany, and it was very difficult for them to access the cryptocurrency market. I don't think they had any Bitcoin vending or the Bitcoin ATMs at the time. And it was very difficult for people to access cryptocurrency. But the Germans have always been big followers in gold, so I think this is it was a long time coming, and now you see that buying in the actual overall markets in Germany. So it's great to see. I mean, some days our volume in Germany is higher than it is in Canada, which is fantastic.
We are seeing central banks printing trillions of dollars like there is no tomorrow. Unemployment numbers are up, and there seems to be no end to coronavirus. How do you think this will affect digital assets? Are you still bullish on crypto?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, absolutely. I mean, certain tokens and certain cryptocurrencies are going to excel, and others may fall behind. But I think, you know, as a player in the markets, and looking at the pure amount of capital coming into the system, where do you go to protect yourself from inflation? I mean, I don't know. I mean, is it going to be real estate? What's it going to be? You know, but at the end of the day, you want store of value. At best, you want to keep your purchasing power and not lose that. So again, you know, I see Bitcoin and I see these tokens with defined inflation, predictable inflation as sort of the go-tos. And I believe in that. And I think the more that the general population is educated about this sort of stuff, the better.
Thanks, Cale, for taking the time to talk with me today.
Yeah, thanks very much, and appreciate being here. Thanks again.
I hope you found the interview today with Cale Moodie from Neptune Dash to be informative. For more market insights and analysis from leading industry professionals in finance and cryptocurrency, make sure you subscribe and click the notification bell to be alerted about future video content. Until next time, take care.